Good evening, everyone. I'm Riley King, and welcome to the Riley King Newscast right here on the Riley King Network. Let's begin. First up, we begin with the weather this evening. As you know, today we had snow and slippery conditions this morning. Freezing drizzle possible before rain moves in. With more on that, let's go to meteorologist Haley Lapointe with your weather forecast for the evening.
Good afternoon. I'm meteorologist Haley Lapointe. Here's an update on your forecast. Still messy conditions across the state. Even though the heaviest snow is long gone and not much showing up on radar, there's very fine mist and drizzle coming down, and it's freezing mist and drizzle. And on top of it, we've got some fog going on too, so low visibility, especially across southern New Hampshire here. That's making for some slower and slick travel across the area. This afternoon, temperatures should get a little bit above freezing in southern New Hampshire. That we will change over to plain rain, but the ground's still very cold, so the threat for freezing rain, freezing drizzle, certainly a possibility throughout the day, and another round of rain showers and some snow likely as we get into the evening and overnight hours too. Here's 3 o'clock in the afternoon, a few scattered snow showers in that pink color indicating where there could be some freezing rain, some drizzle. That's all possible even into southern New Hampshire into the afternoon. Looks like some more steady rain and snow starts to move in during the evening commute. A little bit of a break before more comes in on Wednesday morning. Another round, really another system working its way through. And this one is going to pivot right over the Lakes region in North Country tomorrow. And along with colder air coming down behind this system, that will result in more snow for the mountains in the North Country. So a few inches likely, especially up in the North Country and in the mountains tomorrow. So 2 impact weather days continuing for today and then also for Wednesday. Then it's brisk with some snow showers north on Thursday. And look at the cold air coming in. Only 18 on Friday and highs in the teens to low 20s over the weekend.
Okay, and there you go on that video and that report from meteorologist Haley Lapointe. And there are 42 closings and delays to pass along for you this evening. If you want to see that complete list, just go to WMUR.com. And now let's take a look at your traffic and your roadways this evening and see how your traffic is moving for the evening commute home. And here's a look at that traffic for your ride home this evening. We're seeing a lot of green roadways, and we have a few yellow spots and a few red spots as well. Otherwise, your traffic is moving pretty okay-ish this evening, but it is very foggy out there and still some light freezing drizzle rain and mixed showers throughout New Hampshire. Some over here, so just take it easy on those roadways. Things could still be slick because temperatures did not get up into the above freezing level that much today. So take it easy out there. And now let's get to your news. First up, man known as Jack the Snipper, charged with indecent exposure. A Manchester man who was nicknamed Jack the Snipper after a string of burglaries in 2003 that targeted women as they slept has been arrested and accused of exposing himself to an 8-year-old girl. Jeffrey, 43, was arrested Tuesday afternoon and charged with a felony count of indecent exposure. Manchester police said an 8-year-old girl told them a man exposed himself to her Sunday in a Family Dollar store. Investigators said they were able to get photographs of a possible suspect from the store's surveillance camera. An officer identified the man in the images as Jeffrey, and he was arrested Tuesday afternoon outside his house on Union Street. Jeffrey has a long history with police. He was nicknamed Jack the Snipper after he was suspected in a string of burglaries in which a man entered unlocked apartments in Durham and cut off women's underwear as they slept. Jeffrey was the lone suspect in those cases, but he wasn't directly charged in connection with some of them. He was charged with prowling, but not sentenced to any jail time. Jeffrey was convicted a year later after trying to break through the screen door of an off campus apartment. After he was paroled, he was prosecuted again for exposing himself to a woman and her child in a Dover department store. The charge was a misdemeanor, and Jeffrey was released from prison in less than a year. He was later convicted of exposing himself in a Nashua bookstore and faced similar charges in Salem a year later. After Tuesday's arrest, Jeffrey was placed on a 72-hour hold on suspicious of violating probation or parole. He was scheduled to appear. Manchester man armed with sledgehammer tries to rob Manchester store, police say. Let's take a listen to the video from WMUR News 9, Andy Hirschberger.
Well, Sean, Manchester police are hoping that the public can help them solve a string of armed robberies, including one just this morning here where the suspect allegedly used a sledgehammer as a weapon. Police have released surveillance pictures of the suspect entering the Shop and Go market at 188 Massabesic Street sometime before 7:30 this morning. Police say the suspect raised the small sledgehammer above his head and demanded cash. The clerk refused the armed man, and he left with nothing. Police say this is the third armed store robbery in the last 24 hours, but they're not sure if they're related.
In the last probably 10 days, I believe we've had a half a dozen armed robberies. The two yesterday, the assailant was armed with a knife. Today he was armed with what appeared to be a sledgehammer. We're just hopeful that this doesn't escalate.
Manchester police are hoping that somebody will recognize somebody in these surveillance pictures and give them a call. Reporting live in Manchester, I'm Andy Hirschberger, WMUR News 9.
Okay, and there you go on that video and that report. Teacher from New Hampshire accused of inappropriate relationship with minor student. Police have filed charges against a teacher who is accused of having inappropriate relationship with a student. Vermont State Police and the Department of Child and Families began an investigation November 21, 2018. Investigators said Antra, 44 of Bethlehem, New Hampshire, was a teacher at Linden Institute in Linden, Vermont. The alleged she had inappropriate relationship with a minor who was a student at the school. Detectives said the relationship happened during the end of the last school year. Antra was arrested Tuesday and charged with sexually exploration of a minor and dismantling indecent material to a minor. She was scheduled to appear in Kildare Superior Court on January 28th for an arraignment. No other information about the case has been released. When accused Tuesday, Antra was no longer listed on London's institution's online employee directory. Vermont farm used recycled Christmas trees to feed goats. Let's take a listen to the video.
A lot of good memories for Christmas this year.
For the Whalen family, a fake tree just was not an option.
I think it's much better to get a real tree, get the smell.
But to throw it in the trash after the holiday, no, there's got to be another way.
I had no idea that was even a thing.
Yummy.
Well, yummy for the goats, that is, and maybe the right resting place for these pines at Pine Island Community Farm. Saturday marked the 5th year that cars have lined up to dump their stumps.
Yep.
To feed some 200 goats. They strip the bark and needles clean off, and the farm turns the wood into chips for fertilizer.
This is very important to do every year for the animals.
Chuda Girali raises these little billies. He calls the trees Christmas candy and says it's good for a goat's digestive system. It's not like they have many other green options at this time of the year.
They do it down to my hand.
The kids love it. They get up close and personal, feeding the other kids right through the fence. And the goats will go to feed new Americans in the area. Many have had trouble buying goat meat, which is a staple in a number of cultures.
Somali Bantu group, there's Bhutanese group from Nepal, from Vietnam.
No, I thought it was wild when we first heard about it.
The Williams family has been coming for years, and they'll tell you, it feels good to give up their pine for a purpose.
We're happy and proud to bring our tree down here.
In Colchester, Tom Garris, NBC5 News.
Okay, and there you go on that video and that report. Very cool indeed. I never knew goats could eat Christmas trees. What about you? Comment below and let us know. We want to hear from you. Sears reaches 11th hour deal to stay in business. Sears was facing the possibility of shutting down until it reached an 11-hour deal Tuesday to stay open, at least for now. After 2 long delays at a morning hearing in bankruptcy court, attorneys for Sears announced it had accepted a revised bid from a hedge fund controlled by Eddie Lampert, the chairman and former CEO of Sears. The deal could keep 425 stores open. And now let's take a look at your U.S. stock market and see how U.S. stock market closed for this evening. And here's a look at your U.S. stock market. Your Dow Jones Industrial Average closed in the green and went up. Your Nasdaq closed in the green and went up. S&P 500 closed in the green and went up. Gold closed in the red and went down. Oil closed in the green and went up. U.S. 10-year closed in the green and went up. Euro/USD closed in the green and went up. And VIX closed in the red and went down. Dow climbs more than 200 points to notch its first 3-day winning streak since November. Stocks rose on Tuesday as large tech companies like Apple and Amazon outperformed, while investors remained cautiously optimistic Washington and Beijing could move forward on the trade deal. Feds Paul Manafort shared 2016 presidential polling data with ex-Russia agent. Defense attorneys for on-time Trump campaign chairman Paul Manafort inadvertently revealed Tuesday that their client stands accused of sharing polling data with a suspected former Russia intelligence officer, according to court documents filed publicly in Washington, D.C. And for those who are asking, we do plan on programming President Donald Trump's press meeting tonight at 9 p.m. We will have live stream coverage of it starting at 9 p.m. And that does it for the Riley King Newscast right here on the Riley King Network. I hope you all have a great rest of your Tuesday evening, and I'll see you back here tomorrow for another newscast. And I'll have a news report coming up in a little bit. Good night, everyone. Bye.